Today I'll be reviewing the mildly anticipated Terminator Dark Fate, here on Movies in a Nutshell. Hello everyone and welcome to Movies in a Nutshell, where we talk about movies in a quick way so you can get on with your day. I'm your incredible host, Detective Artemis, and damn, did you see them graphics? Thank you, Journey, for your contribution to this channel. You are heavily appreciated, unlike that other guy. And as always, before we go on, you make sure you hit that thumbs up button, because I know it, you know it, Cersei and Daenerys' Sarah Connor knows it. You really want to like this. Please, today our movie will be Terminator Dark Fate. In this video, we'll be talking about spoilers, so if you haven't seen Terminator Dark Fate yet, hit that watch it or button on this video, go and watch the movie, and then come back in and join in the discussion. Go! Or if you don't care about spoilers, sit back and let's talk. James Cameron returns to the franchise as producer along with Deadpool director Tim Miller, and written by like 5 other people. It's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. It was stated that this movie will be ignoring the events in T3, Salvation, and that god-awful Genysis, thus making this movie the true sequel to T2. Not that it really needed it, but here it is. Apparently the cinematic shitstorm that was the god-awful Genysis was supposed to be a trilogy. But when the movie sank harder than the Titanic, yes, even James Cameron is not safe from my puns. This movie was also supposed to be set up as a trilogy, but according to the current box office, it doesn't look like this movie will be back. But that's okay though, because not every movie has to be part of a goddamn trilogy. Our story here is about a woman named Danny who is being chased by a Terminator and being protected by an augmented human named Grace. During the car chase scene, you know, because it's not a Terminator movie without a goddamn car chase scene, we see the return of the badass Sarah Connor to help Danny and Grace. She's back because in the beginning of the movie, we see her and John living a happy life 1 year after the Judgment Day was supposed to happen, until another T-100 shows up and caps the shit out of John. And he's dead. John Connor is dead. Zero time was wasted for the shock value here, and that was cool, that was okay. I loved it, and apparently it was James Cameron's idea to start the movie with a bang. I have a pun limit? Also, John Connor looks exactly the same age as he did when T2 happened 3 years prior to this. Are we just gonna ignore that? So we find out that Sarah has been killing all these Terminators whenever they show up. She has become a cold killing machine like her enemies. She is a Terminator. She also knows when and where these Terminators are going to show up because she gets these texts from a mysterious person. I wonder who it could be. With the help of Grace, they find the location of the mystery person, and it is Arnold. It's Arnold. He's back again. See, I feel like that god-awful Genysis watered down this return. Horde. It was actually the same T-800 model that killed John earlier in the movie. Yeah, apparently when his mission was over, he just threw his gun, just fucked off somewhere and observed human behavior and then just assimilated. Just like that. He even became a husband and a stepfather. Don't worry though, he says that the relationship between him and his wife was non-physical. Yeah, right. I bet old metalhead couldn't get it up, so it just hung there like forgotten junk in the attic. Also, why am I talking about a Terminator's dick? Now, while this was a funny scene, it did kind of bug me, because in T2, he finds out what it means to be human after they reset the little chip thingy in his head. He was not able to do that on his own, so here, how in the hell was he able to do that on his own? He was the same goddamn model. Are we just gonna ignore that too? Basically, Sarah and John did save the future and took down Skynet. But in doing so, they created another timeline where another company called Legion pretty much did the same shit. Creating another timeline. Having these geeks seen Back to the Future? Great Scott, bitch! The reason why Danny's being protected is because now she's going to give birth to a future leader. But rather, she will be the future leader herself. Ooh, so twisty, so turny. So Arnold joins the team because he wants to make up for killing John Connor. And naturally, Sarah Connor hates his metallic guts, but she reluctantly agrees because they need all the help they can get. With Rev 9. Dudes, he's pretty badass, but he has a friendly face. That's the worst kind of villains. After a bunch of awesome chase sequences, their only way to kill Rev 9 is to use the power core from Grace's body to EMP his ass all the way to hell. But obviously that means Grace is gonna have to sacrifice herself. Now the blast does most of the work, but then Arnold steps in and finishes the job and also sacrificing himself, completing his redemption arc. No, there wasn't a thumbs up here like it was in T2, But that's okay. The movie ends with Danny and Sarah Connor visiting the younger Grace of their timeline, and then driving off into the sunset, awaiting whatever comes their way, sort of parallel to T2. Even though they just made a new timeline since theirs was just tampered with, creating this sort of time paradox where their ultimate destiny is to die. That's just my theory. You're only delaying the inevitable. Now it's time to rate the movie, so let's look at the rating system, starting with the best from the left. Whoa, what is this? Okay. Alright. Awesome must watch, damn fine movie, good dumb fun, watch your bored, and avoid at all costs. To me, this movie had pretty awesome action sequences, and the story was pretty decent. The characters are likable and had their vulnerabilities, and props to Mackenzie Davis, she was pretty great. Although I did not like the inconsistencies that I mentioned earlier. But when you have a time-traveling movie, that shit is bound to happen. Now, if a trilogy has not made it for this movie, that is okay because it works pretty well as a standalone, or even an ending to the first two movies. This was not better than part 1, and it definitely was not better than part 2. This one is pretty much the Return of the Jedi of the Terminator movies, and that is not a bad thing. So I hereby declare Terminator Dark Fate, good dumb fun. So what do you guys rate the movie? Vote in the poll above. And what would you do with your own personal Terminator? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this amazing channel. I am Detective Artemis, and there is no fate but what we make for ourselves.